Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Gina. I am continuing my ICAD. This is 20 to 23, 20, 21, 22, and 23, right? I'm doing 4 cards. Sorry that I started in the middle. I applied white acrylic paint and I forgot to turn on my phone to film. So because it's so thick, I thought, hey, maybe I could make some marks while it's still wet. And that's where I started to tape. So I'm just going over some of them because they kind of started to dry before I thought about making the marks on it. And I'm just reapplying some paint and just making some marks. And for each card, I'm trying to make different marks. They're now dry and I'm trying to add some. My spritz bottle is giving me a lot of trouble, but I'm going to apply some food coloring. I mixed food coloring with regular tap water and I put it in these spritz bottles. So I have green and pink that I spritz. I'm trying my best to leave some white space because white space is good. And on this card, I'm trying to create some drips. Not a lot, but you know. So they all have the same colors, but I try to put them in different places so they'll look a little different. My intention for this one was to do, and this one I'm trying to just, like watercolor, when you have a lot of water on your page and you're just swishing it around. Right, so it's not really to create drips, but just to have those kind of swishy marks. When it leaves one area and it goes to the next, that was the plan. But you see how the lines that I made, it shows up under the color. It's so cool. Right, so here I am trying to de-stickify my masking tape. I know that's not a word. I'm trying to make it less sticky. So I just ran it on I stuck it on the cloth and raised it up and it made it a lot less sticky. My intention is to apply these to my cards, but I wanted to add some black to them. So I'm using black gesso and it's so thick and yummalicious. I just love it. I'm going to cover the entire tape with it, and then I'm going to add some of the colors that I've used on my card, which is the pink and the green, and I think white. So while they were almost dry, I brought back in my card, and because I want to put the black tape, I'm adding some just slight, just a little bit of black splashes. I always have to tell myself, okay, Gina, stop. I just love black splashes. I love it. Right, so I found the tape was too black, so I've added some white, and then I'm going to add some pink. I don't think I added green. I think I'm just gonna add the pink. And I like how it looks when I drag it across with the card when the paint is applied like that. I'm trying to add the paint in different ways on each tape so that they will have different marks. Although in the end I really don't think it mattered because I ripped it so thin that you couldn't really tell. See, because I had a different intention in my mind when I was doing this, but that's what art is for me. Right, so I'm moving these aside and I brought back in my pieces. And instead of doing 3 separate pieces, which of course they will be because it's 3 different cups. 4! I don't know why I keep saying 3. 4 different cards. For this one, even though they are different, they are very similar. So they're all gonna have similar stuff on it, which means I'm drawing a face. Yeah, this is the biggest head that I've drawn, I think. It was like, wow, Gina. And I do not have an image in front of me. I'm still challenging myself in that area. Some days are better than some. I think most of the times I do a bad job, but that's okay. I know it's still progress from where I was, for sure. I'm using my charcoal pencil to draw her, and I'm gonna try my best to put in some shading, putting all her features, and try to get bits of her on all of the cards. At this point, I thought it would be better to turn these horizontal instead. And halfway through, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Gina, what are you doing? So the challenging part for me was, yes, remembering how the features are supposed to go and where shadows are supposed to go. These days, noses are giving me a lot of trouble. It's very interesting. And the shading of it and all of that. But trying to keep the cards together, you know, because a lot of the drawing is happening in the middle where the cards are connected. So that part was very challenging for me as well. But I really enjoyed doing this, you know, and I loved the effect after. Really, I was like, why didn't I do this before? It's so cool. But yeah. So I'm just going to add in her, you know, all this stuff, and we'll see where we're at. Here I'm adding some pink in where her lips outline is because I couldn't get the outline because it was just so black. And then I'm just going to continue shading, adding shading. And then here I made a boo-boo. I smudged all up in the whites of her eyes. So I was kind of freaking out and trying to get it out. Then finally I got the wipe, and my fingers are huge. So it was so hard to get inside of there. But eventually I kind of got it, and I was like, okay, phew, saved that eyeball. I wanted to keep her hair short, and I wanted to use my strips. So instead of, you know, have it overpowering the page, I thought how cool it would be if I put them on different parts of her face, extending out into the cards. So I'm going to fiddle around with all of them, trying to put bits and pieces all over. And then it kind of looked faded. It was kind of faded into the page too much. It wasn't standing out enough, so I've just brushed it with the black paint. And then I realized the other pieces needed some of that too, so I'm just adding that before I rip it up and strip it up. And along the way, I felt that it needed another contrasting piece of tape in between. The challenge for me was trying to decide where to put the pieces of tape that, where it felt right. At this point, I felt that I needed to work on them individually instead of as a whole. So I'm just removing the tape from behind them and looking at them separately now to decide what else can be added. And here is when I felt I needed the contrasting tape color, and I've just used the plain masking tape. Even though there's no cream on the page, I still decided to add it in. And I liked that choice. So I'm just gonna add those to the other cards and see how they look going back and forth. And I wasn't going to put any words on them, but then the word that popped into my head and it stuck was the word me. And I put that on all the cards. I tried to I tried to measure it so that it would be even, but I think the way how the rubber was stuck onto that particular one, it was a bit low, so it stamped low anyway. And I was just like, Argh! But I left it and I just drew it in a little above it, so it kind of looked like a shadow. I was hoping that would happen. So I'm going to struggle with lining up those stamps, that stamp, and until I eventually figure out what to do to get it in line with each other. So you see, I lined it, but look how far down it is. I did line it up and I was like, whatever. And here I actually looked at it, and then I didn't use the card to measure. I used my eyeball. I tilted my head underneath so I could see. That's what happened. See, using my eyeball again. Yay, thumbs up. I was so happy. So they all say me. I was going to put pieces of me because, she was whole and then she got separated into the four. But I just left it at that because, we're all individuals and there are different parts of us, different parts of our lives, and we are made up of different types of personalities, and, there are many things that make us us. So this is me in its separate pieces. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to leave your comments. Bye!